Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Ace Podcast Nation, the home of Cardiff City World. It's actually Cardiff City World. I got it wrong. There you go. It's Cardiff City World, not Ace Podcast Nation. I just went into normal spiel. Welcome to Cardiff City World, Cardiff City's first unofficial official fan channel, where tonight we will be previewing Cardiff City versus Preston, as well as straight after this, about 9 o'clock, we'll be dropping the recording of the live event which we did just before Christmas with Michael Chopra, City Legends #3. It's part one. There's two parts. So the first part is the sort of interviewee type bit between myself and Michael, and then the second part, which will be out next Friday, will be the live the question and answer bit where everyone was asking questions and stuff. But big shout out to Michael Chopra, by the way. He was awesome to deal with. Great lad, and he was super honest with everything. Like, he didn't hold anything back. He gave some opinions on players he's played with and stuff, and their relationships. He was very honest, and it was very good. Really, really enjoyable. Really gutted that the lighting at the Rum and Tavern is not great. So, like, the video isn't to the usual quality that I would sort of put out in terms of how clear it is, but the audio is fine, which is the main thing, and the video is all right, I suppose. But looking forward to taking the City Legends events on the road. Obviously, the next one being the 10th of May with Willie Boland. There are still a few tickets left. If you would like to join us, £10 at the Rose and Crown in Pontypridd with cult hero Willie Boland returns to Wales for another top night of questions, fun, stories, and the like. It'll be a cracking night. But on with the good stuff. Regular viewers of Ace Podcast Nation will know with these previews, they're normally about 20 minutes or so, normally pre-recorded with some graphics and teams and stuff. But I haven't been very well the last couple of days, so we've had to go and we'll do it on the fly. We'll do it live, but it's the same. It's just the same. Maybe not quite as much live interaction as a normal show, but I'll still try and get to the comments and people's opinions. As always, we start with Cardiff's opponents. Preston North End off the back of a really big win versus Ipswich in the last game. And look, as I said in my previous preview, if Cardiff City can stop Preston and the way they play, the way they set up, they'll have a real good chance. But Preston's going to be a very, very difficult team to play at the moment. Cardiff are looking for back-to-back wins for the first time since October, which seems absolutely ages ago. Preston North End come to the Welsh capital, and they are going to be buzzing. The Bluebirds grinded out, I would say, a narrow away win at Watford recently, and I think it was a good result. A very difficult place to go. Watford are one of those teams which are very dangerous, particularly at home. And I thought, generally, I think Cardiff's away form has been very, very good all season. Even the performances where things haven't quite gone right, they set up solid and they try and hit teams on the break, which I think is a good method, especially in the Championship. But let's have a look. It's with Preston, they got quite a few dangerous players, particularly obviously got Will Keane up front, who averages a goal every other game. Very difficult. He's a very talented striker as well. He was my one to watch last time we played them. So I will try and change it up a bit, but he is a big part of the way they play. Gets on the end of balls from, the likes of Edmondson and I cannot pronounce his name. Frokjær Jensen is a player in the middle of midfield, which I really like. They tend to set up in like a 3-5-2, which will be interesting because Cardiff City manager he does like that system and he has used it, but will he stick with the system, the tried and tested, or will he try and match up against this Preston system? They got two really top Championship wide players in Miller and Potts and cause a lot of damage if the fullbacks and the midfield are not on point. Psyopis will really need to have a big game in this, particularly if we kind of stick to that sort of 4-2-3-1. Psyopis has got to be on his game in terms of sweeping up. If Collins or if NG push forward, they've got to sweep up. Cardiff have got a few injury problems, which we'll discuss later. But with the signings, they've got some depth as well. Preston, really solid. I like Story in defence. I like Hughes in defence as well. I've got a good keeper in Woodman, experienced. And they've got a few players off the bench which can do some damage, including, some familiar names like Woodburn, McCann, Osmatic, among others. So Preston, they play good football. They'll pass out from the back. They'll try and get into the wide areas, utilise those wing backs, and get in down the sides of Cardiff, and then put balls into the box with Reese and Keane in the middle, and then the likes of a Brown or a Whiteman or from any of the central midfielders looking to get right in there toward the arriving late, should I say. But as I always point out, when you play against a team which plays a 3-5-2, there is an opportunity to get down the sides of them when the wing backs are pushing forward, particularly if you can win the ball quite high up the field and you can transition then from winning the ball to an attack really quickly. So in some ways, I hope Cardiff stick with the normal system, because I think Grant, Colwell and Bowler or whoever else plays wide, they really could do some damage, in that transition, particularly if we bring Turnbull in alongside Siopis. I know Joe Rolls is, I think, 50-50 to play, or he might be back, but he might not. O'Dowda's back in training, but I would have thought it's very unlikely that he makes the squad just yet. McGuinness is struggling, which would have been a massive issue, but obviously with Phillips coming in, it's not too big of an issue unless he's planning on going with that 3-5-2. However, you have also got the option of playing NG as one of the three, and Bowler or Grant or someone can do the wing back job. But back with Preston, the way I think they'll line up, I think they'll probably line up very similar to how they lined up against Ipswich, where they played extremely well, got into some good attacking positions. They had 10 shots on goal versus Ipswich 25. Only 3 of them were on target, which is the 3 which they scored. So whilst they did create against Ipswich, Ipswich had the majority of the possession. Ipswich had the majority of the chances. But Preston were very clever in the way they played. They hit him on the break and they were clinical. And ultimately, what Cardiff have to try to cut out is not concede too many shots on goal, make themselves difficult to play through in those attacking areas. So the back four's got to be solid. Siopis has got to be solid. Turnbull has got to, when we're out of possession, or whoever plays alongside Siopis, as soon as we lose the ball, they've got to slot in and make sure you've got like that bank of 4 and the 2 protecting. But we'll see. So lineup-wise, Preston, I think they'll go Woodman in goal. Story, Lindsay, Hughes pretty much picks itself. The wing-backs, again, Potts and Miller, they'll pick themselves to be excellent players. Frokjær Jensen, I think, definitely plays, and I think Brown definitely plays. Whiteman, unless they play McCann over Frokjær Jensen, I think they'll go with Brown, Whiteman, Frokjær Jensen, personally. But there is a chance I suppose that you've got a McCann or a Brady could slot in there. And then up front, it's the 2, Reese and Keane, both do a very, very good job of scoring goals. And Reese in particular, he will create goals as well. Like Will Keane is the main guy up front, and he's got a great record this season so far. He's got 11 goals, 2 assists. He's only played 22 games, so it's about a goal pretty much every 70, just about a goal every other game, just about. But he scores like about every 120 minutes, and that's a good record. He's got a conversion rate of like 42% and an accuracy rate of 65%. He does hit the target a lot, and if we allow him space and time, and we allow him to get in behind, or we allow the wing backs to get in behind the fullbacks and get balls in the box, Will Keane, Reese, and the players arriving late will be very, very dangerous. And it is a risk for Cardiff. They've got to make sure that they're on and they defend properly, particularly if we end up with a new combination as in central defence. Is the other thing. Dry mouth. Let's move on to Cardiff. It's a few sort of injury things knocking about. McGuinness is a doubt, which is quite fascinating in one way, because I think two aspects to it for me. One, I think if he's fit, I think there's a good chance we go 3-5-2 and match them up. And then second of all, it would have been a massive worry to lose McGuinness, because McGuinness and Goutas have played every game together. So to lose McGuinness would be massive. I still think it's a bit of a blow, because I think out of the two centre-backs, he's the better on the ball, he's the better passing, and he can kind of progress the play a little bit better. But, Nat Phillips will come in, I would imagine, and it's going to be very interesting. Like, there's a few players we talked about earlier in the week on the channel, on the various shows and things, like who's going to keep their places. Really, I think Ryan Wintle on form deserves to keep his place. He was excellent against Watford. However, I'm not sure I think he's got a knock. Rawls, I think, is kind of coming back. Got O'Dowda back in training, but not. I would be amazed if O'Dowda starts. Atete, I think, is probably in big danger of losing his place in the starting lineup. And then you've got like the likes of Wilson Esperand, you've got Turnbull, Jeju. Like, when do you bring these players in? Obviously, we haven't been privy to training, so we don't know how they've acclimatized to the club and stuff like that. And of course, you've got Aaron Ramsey. Is he ready to start? I would imagine not, considering he didn't even come on for a few minutes versus Watford. So I'd imagine he stays on the bench. And then you've, a Tanner or a Mate. Are they going to get us the nod? It's going to be a fascinating thing. The one thing for me, look, if Ryan Wintle's fit and whatnot, on one hand, his performance last Saturday probably merits staying in this start 11. So it's very difficult, because Wintle probably deserves to stay in the starting 11 on his performance. However, to me, if you're bringing in Turnbull, there's a reason, and he's also of a certain quality which we don't have in that position. We need to get that quality in alongside Siopis as soon as possible. Like, I've been banging the drum recently that one of the reasons Siopis has gone off the boil is because he's trying to do two roles. He's trying to be an 8 who progresses the ball, but he's also trying to be a 6 who destroys and breaks up play and picks the ball up off the defence and keeps it moving. And he just physically cannot do both roles at the same time. So personally, I would go with Turnbull in there. And I think because the sooner they can get that partnership going, the better. Bowler scored a great goal, but I thought he struggled a bit before the goal. Obviously, an amazing goal, a cracking goal. And I think one of the things that we've talked about a lot this week, again, on the channel, is Bowler's got it in him. He's direct. He can cause teams problems when his attitude and his head is right. He's a dangerous, dangerous player. But there's also a reason why he's available on loan, because maybe he hasn't got that consistency and stuff like that. So it'll be interesting whether they stick with him. Obviously, when I do the predicted lineup, that's what I think the manager will do. If it was me, I've said many times, Grant would be through the middle as the number 9. At home, I'm probably starting Tanner. Give him a go. Tell him, go and be direct. Play him and Bowler wide and go and be direct, high and wide, get at the fullbacks, isolate them, and put some balls in the box. And then tell him, Ruben Corwell, get in the box with Grant. Use your body, use your size to get on the end of these crosses. That's what I would do. It's not what I think the manager will do. But one thing I think we can safely say is the manager won't keep the same 11. He very rarely does keep the same 11. So I think the manager's 11 will be Alnwick in goal. I think he'll retain his place. I don't think it's going to be too long until we see Howard Firth in goal. For whatever reason, Baloo doesn't seem to fancy Alnwick in goal. I think Alnwick deserves to see the season out as number 1, but I don't think he will. So I think the manager picks Alnwick in goal, NG right back, Goutas, Phillips, Collins. Although I think there is a slight chance he could play Wilson Esperand at home to try and be a bit more attacking, but I think probably Collins for this week. Don't think he'll want to change too much. In the wide areas, I think he'll go Bowler and Grant, and I think he'll go with Turnbull and Siopis in the middle, and then I think he'll play Colwell just behind. It's got to be Jeju, isn't it? Like, I cannot see away where he's watched back that Watford game and thought, yeah, Tete's my man. He should be number 9 in front of Jeju, the new signing, or even in front of Mate. Like I can't see how Tete can retain his place, being honest. Like he's got to, for me, I think he's got to go out on loan and get experience playing. He's got to strengthen up a bit, play week in, week out, and get acclimatized to men's football. He just, for such a big athletic lad, he just hasn't got the physical and mental strength, I don't think, to play in the Championship, which is unfortunate because I do think there's a player in there. I think he's shown bits of magic, like in real tight spots as well, but he's nowhere near consistent enough, and he's too weak. He falls over and gets knocked off the ball far too easily. If Jeju is not ready to play 90 minutes for whatever reason, I would go with Mate up front, or I think the manager will go with Mate up front. Personally, I hope and I think he'll play Jeju. So that will be my team: Jeju, Colwell, Bowler, Grant, Siopis, Turnbull, NG, Gutas, Phillips, and probably Collins, maybe Wilson Esperant, with Alnwick in goal. Ipswich, my man to watch is... so last time we did the preview against Preston, my man to watch was Will Keane. This time round, I'm going to go with... it's a difficult one, right? Because there's a few lads there which I think can really cause Cardiff some problems. But I'm going to go with Potts, the right wing back. I think he is really... Him and Miller are super, super dangerous. And I think ultimately, if Cardiff City can keep their wing backs quiet and starve the strikers of service, then they'll have a good chance of turning them over. But they've got to starve the strikers of service in the wide areas, and then Siopis and Turnbull have got to stop the central midfield 3, but it's more the sort of 2 which play that bit further forward. You've got to try to just keep it compact, make themselves difficult to play through. Frokjær Jensen is one who's a real good, technically good footballer, and I think him, the wing backs, keep them quiet or starve the strikers of service, I think is the way to go. And I really believe that at home, Cardiff can get at Preston, to get at them down the sides, get them in other ways, get Colwell on the ball. I think he can do some damage. Colwell did an excellent job on Jake Livermore against Watford. Really, like what Livermore ended up going off, and like he really didn't impact the game, and he never got Watford going the way that he has done so many times this season. So again, I'm looking to Colwell to get on Whiteman or Frokjær Jensen, whoever plays that deeper role, and get around him and put him under pressure, and don't give him any easy balls and easy routes out, easy ways out. And then if we can win, when we win the ball, we need to exploit those wide areas where the wing backs are pushed forward. They like to cut in, so there will be space. You've just got to use it properly when you get the opportunity. But I think now we have some players who are capable of doing that, and I think that's the most important thing. Is Cardiff have got depth, and they've got players who can do damage if you get them the ball in the right area. We just need a little bit more consistency from some, your bowlers and people like that. And then secondly, the new players need to we need them to hit the ground running. Cardiff City, the man to watch for me. I'm sure lots of people are expecting me to say Ruben Colwell because I've been banging his drum a little bit this year, particularly in the last few months. But actually, my man to watch is Siopis. I think if Siopis has a big game tomorrow, then Preston will be troubled by what Cardiff can offer in the attacking third. I'm really, really excited by what Turnbull can bring to the table. He can play any role you want in midfield, really, but I expect him to play like a box-to-box role, effectively, number 8, playing through the lines, getting the ball to the wingers, playing 1-2s off the strikers, or if we were to play like a Grant or someone up front, getting the ball in behind and down the channels for them to run onto, linking up with Colwell. And I think there's 2 or 3 players who can really benefit from the fact that Turnbull is in this side, and that's why I think he'll start. Number 1, Ruben Corwell straight away. There's someone in midfield who can get that ball to him when he picks up those little pockets of space. We have really lacked that passer in net alongside Siopis who can play through the lines. Turnbull brings that. He's also aggressive to support Siopis in the defensive areas. He's got energy for days. He will run and run and run. He'll also arrive in the box late. If we can get in the wide areas and put some crosses in, he will arrive late on the end of crosses. He's not scared to shoot. His biggest quality, other than set pieces, is his passing accuracy. Rarely gives the ball away, but also has got a dangerous ball in as well. So I think I'm really, I can't tell you how excited I am to see Turnbull alongside Siopis. The other players who I think will benefit, I think Siopis will benefit because he can focus on being what he was when he first came into the side, which is a traditional defensive midfielder who sweeps up, covers the fullbacks when they go forward. He can get the ball off the defenders and keep it moving, progress play nicely. He's got a real good switch ball and stuff like that in him, which he can do. But he's also doesn't have to worry too much about trying to get the ball to Colwell or to the wingers or whatever, because he can leave that to Turnbull. And I think that's where we will see the best of Siopis. And we need him because I think he's going to be an important player against Preston, as I've mentioned. And it's going to be very, very interesting. Let's have a look. There was a comment earlier. So just to finish off, before I do my predictions, I want to talk about one or two little things. Reece just today, you're surprised to see Baloo again talking to the media about the board's lack of movement, this time over Rawls' contract. I am and I'm not. Like, I think he's playing a game. He knows he's got his own contract situation. And I think he's trying to just make it clear to the fans he wants to stay. He wants to build a long-term project, but also probably giving the board a little nudge and saying, come on, let's get it done. Let's work together. Let's go and build something long-term. The Rawls contract's an interesting one, right? Because I absolutely think he should get one, and I absolutely don't want to see him play for anyone else. I want to see him finish his career at Cardiff City. But equally, if Turnbull is able to consistently perform at the level that he's capable of, Rawls is not going to play much unless they rest Siopis and play Rawls or Turnbull in that defensive midfield. But I think he's a great player to have off the bench to close games out, or if you need someone who can pass the ball well late on in games, he's a good player off the bench. It shows, like, you'd have a really strong bench if Joe Rawls is on the bench rather than starting. And I think one of the concerns has been that he hasn't quite been up to it as a starter. And there's only so many places on the bench, hence why a few players miss out. And I think Rawls deserves another contract. But I wouldn't be surprised if with this board, if either they don't offer him one or they lowball him completely. Because I think it's clear, if they were that desperate for him to sign a new contract at board level, they would have already offered it, tied it up, and done it by now. They wouldn't have let it roll this long. But I do think he should get a contract. But it is interesting that this manager is not afraid to challenge the board. He's not afraid to talk to the media. I like it. I do. I think it's clever. I think he's taken the pressure off the team as well by not really talking about the game too much. I also saw he really, really bigged up Turnbull, which is another interesting. Like, Turnbull's used to playing under pressure. He's played in Champions League. He's played at Celtic, so he's played in front of 50,000 fans a week, So I'm excited by Turnbull, home debut, and hopefully we'll see Aaron Ramsey for 20 minutes at the end. I dare say we might see him for longer if we're losing, but hopefully we won't be. I think, in terms of predictions, I'm interested in what you guys think. Please drop in the comments below after the video what you think the score will be. I'm going to go with, I said 2-0 to City earlier in the week. I'm going to slightly amend that. I'm going to go with 1-0 to City. I fancy a clean sheet tomorrow, and hopefully one of the Jeju or Turnbull can really go. But Preston's going to be a really hard game. Like, they beat Ipswich last week 3-2, and in my opinion, of all the games I've watched this year in the Championship, Ipswich have been consistently the best team I've seen play, even better than Leicester in terms of when they played Cardiff. I know Leicester have been excellent. I've seen them play as well, but Ipswich are right up there in terms of the quality that I saw them play against Cardiff. Ipswich were the best team I've seen. I thought they were sensational. Kieran McKenna's doing a great job, and not Kieran McKenna. What's his fucking name? Got his name. Kieran McKenna is Ipswich manager, isn't he? Like Ipswich are doing like they're really, really good. So for Preston to beat them at home, I think that was a massive result because I think everyone expected Preston to lose that one. You know, so it's fascinating to kind of see. It's a big game. I said 2-0 City earlier in the week. I fancy. I don't know why I fancy Cardiff to keep a clean sheet, but a 1-0 City, 2-1 City is probably the way I see it going. You tell me in the comments. Guys, please do, or as always, like, comment, share. Please subscribe to the new Cardiff City channel. It's a fan channel, so if you want to get involved, hit us up, get involved. On a Saturday, we want your videos. We want your opinions. We want your vlogs. We want everything you can do. If you're raging about a referee decision, you're not happy about the lineup, whatever it may be, send in a little video to email this or on the channel or to Ace Podcast Nation's emails and channels. And it's at cardiffcityworld@gmail.com. Send them over and we'll put them straight up on the channel. We want fan content. If anyone wants to get involved in the post show tomorrow, there's a show at 7 o'clock tomorrow night after the game where Rob and Matt will discuss the game and everything that's gone on with it. So if you'd like to get on the panel for that, then get in touch. It's a fan channel. The more the merrier. We're going to have some written content coming. I've also got a Welsh journalist who's going to be coming and doing some regular content as well soon. So it's all systems go for Cardiff City World. Please like it. Please subscribe. Please like the video. Comment in the comments underneath the video. Helps us with the algorithm and all that sort of stuff. It is literally 7 days a week Cardiff City content. Now, 9 o'clock, 15 minutes from now, live on Ace Podcast Nation and Cardiff City World simultaneously. We have City Legends Night 3 with Michael Chopra. Part 1, he talks about addiction. He talks about his relationship with the other players, his arguments, his fights, everything. He was very honest. It was interesting show. Check it out. Drop comments. Spread the word. Share. All that stuff. And, of course, don't forget to get your tickets for the 10th of May. Rose and Crown, Pontypridd. Cult hero, legend, Willie Boland returns to Wales for another top night. £10 for tickets. Contact Snowy Insole at btconnect.com to get your tickets. There is limited availability left. Appreciate you all. Thank you very much. I apologize. I've been ill, so I'm a bit under the weather, but I did my best. Join us Saturday, post-show. Sunday, we'll have 5 things we learned. Monday, Cardiff City phone-in. Content every single day. Let's go. Nice one.